Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I just wanted to make a short video on a question. Like you saw in the title, I want to ask the question, are you a disciple or are you somebody that's discipling? So, because these two things are totally different things. And I think if I look at what I see around me, a lot of people don't see the difference in that. So, a disciple is somebody that became born again, that are being discipled by somebody that has walked this walk, and they're busy with them for a time, like you heard in my previous video, of 3 years, 4 years. In that period, they're busy working with him. So a disciple is somebody that's still a baby, still a toddler, and he's busy learning how to do what you show him, and to learn how to crawl, and will bump his head against the table and the chair, and they will fall over and get hurt. That's a disciple. Disciple is somebody that are being taught by somebody that have walked the walk, and they are being shown how to walk this walk. So that's a disciple. In short, just realize it's like a little young baby that's grown and starting to grow, but further starting to crawl. They don't walk yet, they're still crawling. That's a disciple. And for you to be a disciple, you need to be with somebody that are discipling you, that have done this. That's the proper biblical way of doing it. If I see somebody new that wants to talk to me about discipling, the first question I will ask them is, who's discipling you? And I'm asking you that's watching this, that think you're a disciple maybe, or whatever the case may be, who's discipling you? Are you sitting with somebody for 3 years, 3.5 years, like Jesus did with his disciples, and that person is teaching you? Are you teachable in that sense? Because if you're not, you're going to get hurt, and you're going to hurt people because you're not open or teachable to be discipled. I'm asking you the question, if you're not in a group that are discipling you, giving you milk, baby food, you need to find a group that can help you, that are a person, not the group that can help you, that person that's discipling you. Like Jesus was the one that is discipling the 12, not more than that. You have got to go to people that are discipling, that's being discipled in a small, intimate group, not in a church religious way, in a home cell, and that's not biblical. In a small group where there's somebody that has gone through all of this and was taught by somebody else that are teaching you now how to be a disciple. That's a disciple in short. If you are discipling, that's the person that's discipling the new disciples, the babies. Are you that person? And if you are that person, to qualify to be a disciple that's discipling, it means that you were taught for 3 to 4 years by somebody, and now you're applying that, what they have taught you and what the Holy Spirit is starting to teach you now, to the new babies that's in your group. Not more than 12. You cannot work with more than 12 people, because we're not better than Jesus. He showed us what we are capable of and how many we are capable of discipling, and it was 12. So whether you have 2, that's no problem, it's brilliant. Whether you have 5, it's brilliant. Whether you have 12, it's brilliant. If you have 50, that's not biblical. If you have 20, that's not biblical. And I'm talking about babies here, not the more mature ones like Paul spoke, the baby disciples that are still crawling and have a nappy on. That disciple, if you're discipling people, you must have been discipled. You cannot disciple people if you're still a baby. If you haven't been discipled for 3 years, you cannot disciple people, I'm sorry. Because you are still in a place where you should be taught how to walk this walk. A baby cannot help another baby. And there it's sometimes hard for us, because we either have a lot of pride, or we think we're at a certain level and we want to feel like we must disciple people and we do it better than other people. Please, that's not biblical. If you run a group that you are discipling, make sure your group is less than 12, and be sure you were discipled before you're doing this. You cannot get born again now and have your own group. We don't do that in the natural, so why would we do it in the spiritual? You cannot be born as a baby and look after a family. You cannot be 2 years old, 3 years old and look after a family. As a teenager, you're still going to struggle there. So do you see the problem we have in discipleship, where whether you're discipling, the way you're discipling, that can be a huge problem, and you're actually causing problems for the young disciples you're discipling. So if you are in a group that are being discipled, make sure the one discipling you were discipled, have walked a long walk, years, minimum 3 years with somebody, and now they're teaching you. Then it's fine. And that's where you will see fruit. But if they were just born again a year ago, and they have their own group meetings now, and they're leading people, it's the blind leading the blind. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to point fingers here, but that's the truth. It's the biblical truth. Jesus was mature and he discipled. You can go look in the Bible. Everybody, they had to walk this walk before they. Paul didn't disciple from day one, work with people. He started stuff, and then he went away and he started teaching people. It's not biblical to be a baby and teach people. That you still need to be discipled for 3 years. Only after that you can start working with groups. So immediately from the day you get born, get spirit-filled, you're a disciple because you're being discipled, but you're not discipling. And I see a lot of people all over the world getting born again, filled with the Holy Spirit. Remember what I said, a baby cannot hear correctly because they're still too young. And now they want to run in groups and be led by the Spirit in the way they think they are led by the Spirit, but they're still babies. They cannot hear properly, understand properly, discern properly. That's why you need somebody to help you. And it's actually such a natural thing if you're a disciple and you have somebody discipling you to go through. And to look forward to that one day, after 3 years, you leave this person, you're still bound by the Spirit, but you leave him and you have your own group, which you are discipling now. And he can start with these new people that he's busy with discipling. That's what disciples is about. It's not about a young person getting born again now and having his own group of meetings and standing in front teaching people. You cannot have a baby teaching people. It's not possible. The only thing they can teach is what they've heard. It's not from the heart, it's not from experience, that's not discipling. That's why Jesus didn't disciple anybody until age 30. Mature in the flesh. Okay? And we need spirits to be maturer than a baby to disciple people. We cannot have people standing in front at kickstarts, at meetings, at cell groups that are still babies that haven't been taught for 3 years to 4 years by somebody. I'm sorry, I know it hits some nerves here, but that's where a problem is in discipleship. We need to get people mature so that they don't make so much mistake because they're going to hurt people and themselves. So this is to encourage you and help you to be bold in what you do, but do it the correct biblical way. So hopefully this gives you something again to go think about and maybe to see where there's maybe error and correct it. Be teachable. I also made these mistakes and I had to walk it out to learn. Now I can teach somebody not to make the same mistakes again. So let's not get into this pride thing where we think we know it all. Be taught by somebody, and you that's teaching, make sure you were taught properly before you start teaching. You've walked the walk with people. I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about people discipling you, hands-on, intimate, one-on-one like this in a small, intimate group. That's discipling. So thank you everybody, and till the next one. See you. Bye-bye.